It's weird to think how Monster Hunter low-key became Capcom's top franchise in an instant. While Street Fighter and Resident Evil still reign supreme overall with multiple entries dotting the top 10 list, Monster Hunter is the absolute king with over 16 million units of Monster Hunter Worlds sold. So why would Capcom stop now? Monster Hunter is a fascinating series, mostly because of how open-ended it is. Nearly everyone's experience is different. Whether that involves frustration or elation at any given moment is entirely up to you. Even as a veteran, it'd be a mix of both. But Monster Hunter Rise has so much personality and adds several key mechanics into the mix that it elicits far more joy than suffering, so long as you're willing to work with it. As is the case with most entries, Rise once again tasks players with literally hunting down various big bad beasties with a variety of weapons and playstyles. Once you've bested them, you can skin them for parts, gear up, upgrade, and repeat the process, solo or with friends.
I'm gonna need some of your parts.
You do this until you kill a really big monster in the main storyline, then kill more monsters in a post-game. The general flow is still the same, but Rise has the benefit of working with a very clear theme, feudal Japan, as a throughput. Rather than becoming numb to the environments of the game's hub zone, I embraced them, and started to take notice of all its colorful nuances. The NPCs grew on me in a way that many hadn't before, and the beautiful, majestic soundtrack drew me into the world even further. However, it can still be a slow start. A few of the early monsters are a little bland, as are the ins and outs of early equipment pieces and weapons. But ramp you will, and the creatures and their lovely haiku intros get even more interesting to look at aesthetically. Even some of the older concepts have a little more flair in Rise, as you witness them in a new light. Even if you felt like Monster Hunter was clunky in the past, the Wirebug might change that notion. Think of it like a flavorful grappling hook, which can not only zoom you around the map for exploration purposes, but zip you around in combat as an action-centric dodge. Hunters also have access to a recover ability, think fighting games when you get knocked down, which prevent you from getting stun-locked or comboed by enemies, as well as special Wirebug moves. It's up to you to govern your Wirebug meter, which refills over time via a cooldown, and decide which enemy attacks are worth recovering from, how much ground you need to cover, and how useful your individual weapons are. It's a neat little metagame that has a relatively low skill floor in terms of picking up the dodge element of the Wirebug mechanic, while providing a high ceiling and opening up weapon tech. The Palamute/Dog Companion deserves a special shout out too. While having a little deadly mutt running around is its own reward, you can ride it to get to places quickly and chase down monsters. And in a game where you might be pursuing a creature 4 or 5 times a match, it breaks down the monotony. Riding monsters who can quickly get from place to place and start bar fights with other creatures similarly feels straightforward and to the point. Then there's the Rampage missions. These work kind of like a light tower defense gimmick, allowing hunters to create weapon platforms in specific locations in an arena, as well as spring one-time use traps or NPC powers. You can opt to pilot a platform yourself, such as a bow gun or a cannon, or simply put an NPC in charge. It's a little streamlined, but it is fun to see a handful of big monsters on screen while you blow them up with heavy-duty weaponry. It's more like controlled chaos, but given that the game doesn't force you to do Rampage missions en masse, it works out more like a welcome diversion than a slog. Playing through the main story, you can defeat the big bad cover monster in one-on-one combat in around 15 hours. But as all Monster Hunter fans know, the game begins when the credits roll. After that's said and done, you'll unlock a weapon and start the endgame with higher ranked monsters to hunt. Replaying Rampage missions is also a treat, because the general chaos lends itself well to repeat viewings. Beyond that Village Progress questline, you'll have access to the Hub Progress branch, which is the meat of the game. This is where you'll make your way through the ranks fighting near endless foes, with other people if you so choose. Although my access to multiplayer was limited prior to launch, Monster Hunter Rise is still very fun in terms of group coordination. With the Wirebug, seeing everyone zip around is a treat. You also have the fairly deep buddy system to play around with, which operates with its own hub zone, and allows you to recruit more furry friends for off-screen adventures and item rewards. With 14 weapons to test and a very useful training ground, which shows button inputs, combos, and moves on screen, it's easy to get sucked into village life. There's a good chunk of fun busy work abound if you want a break from hunting. Like a lot of Monster Hunter games, I slowly started to get more and more acclimated to Rise until I hit a positive tipping point. Once it clicked, it was hard to go back to the old ways, before the Wirebug opened up combat and the theme was arguably the most on point it's ever been. Rise should delight fans both new and old, as long as newcomers are willing to work a little bit for it. But for more written reviews, news, original features, and more, be sure to head on over to Destructoid.com. And if you enjoyed today's video, feel free to give it a like or even consider subscribing. And as always, thank you for watching.